Welcome to the Proposal Follow-Up webinar. The purpose of this session is to introduce procedures for proposal follow-up. What we'd like to see as an outcome is that you properly learn how to follow up on your open proposals and allows you to increase your close rate because of your increased touch points and communication with customers you've written a proposal to but have not yet landed a sale. What's first most important in any type of system is making sure that you're fully organized to execute on a behavior. So what we have here is what we call a daily call sheet. Now you can use your own daily call sheet in a notebook, but we suggest that every single day you have a list of customers that you know that you need to get in contact with their phone number and any notes. And the reason why you want to have this is because we know as a mobile business, we're in and out of our mobile showroom around our town, and at any point in time, if you have some downtime, you can make some calls. If you don't keep a sheet with you mobile and print it out, it will be difficult at certain points to pull up your computer to access the people that you need to call. Also, it creates a habit and a system for you. If you get into a habit of creating a daily call list, the actions that follow, such as the calls and the contact points with your customers, will follow as well. It could be managed by team members or yourself, and it allows for keeping track on a daily basis. Now, the first step in following up with your open proposals is what happens after a sale happens or a proposal happens, but the sale is not gotten yet from the customer. So, for whatever reason, they did not sign the agreement with us and they did not buy from us. But what we suggest to do is the day after the proposal is written is for a check-in call from the office manager. And the office manager should say something like this: Hi, this is blank calling from Floor Coverings International. I'm just calling to check in on the visit that you had with so and so yesterday. So the first step is just to check in. It's telling the customer on the other end of the phone that we're calling to check in. And then we do a quality check. I just wanted to make sure that he or she arrived on time and you felt that they were helpful. So the customer is put at ease and feels that this phone call is just about a quality check. And then we'll ask the customer if they had any questions surrounding their visit. Now, at this point in time, if our office manager is making the phone call, they may have a question, the customer may have a question that the office manager cannot answer, and that's okay. At that point in time, the office manager would put the customer in touch with the design associate or yourself. And the next piece is, do you feel like you're ready to make a purchasing decision? That last question is a slight ask by the office manager to see if the customer is ready to make a decision. In some cases, this call should come from the design associate, but in most cases, the office manager can make this next day check-in call to see if the customer is comfortable moving forward. At that point in time, it is up to the design associate or yourself as an owner to continue to follow up. The procedure would be is after the first check-in call, which is the day after the proposal is written, is to follow up again before the customer asks. And what that means is the customer typically would tell you on the way out of an appointment to follow up with me next Tuesday or next Friday. And we will follow up before the date that they give us. Now the reason is because typically they'll give us a date knowing that they may be shopping someone else or knowing that they have a deadline coming up, and we want to make ourselves top of mind before that deadline comes about. We should also, when we do this follow-up call, use questions that elicit a yes or a no. And we'll go into that in more detail on the next slide. We don't want to stop with at least one time per week worth of contact. Now what that means is some type of interaction with the customer. It doesn't mean you make one phone call or one email or one text per week. It means that you should have at least one exchange in communication. So a simple voicemail is not a communication exchange. It is just us reaching out to the customer. We want a contact exchange with the customer. So if it's a conversation over a phone, a conversation over text message where they reply, or a conversation over email where they reply, we want to make sure we have at least one exchange per week. It's important, if you look on the right side of our screen, to block off time daily that your communication with your customers will happen. Because what will typically happen is that you will typically get a voicemail or won't get a response, which does not count as a full contact. So you'll have to try again the next day or the following day, which becomes very, very important to vary times. So vary the times that you block out your calendar. You want to make sure that on, for example, a Monday, if you're calling your open proposals in the morning, on a Tuesday, you'll be doing it in the evening to increase your chances of getting in touch with the customer. Also, it's important to vary your means of communication as well. So not only should you be phoning your customers, you should be texting them and emailing them as well. And lastly, we want to speak with positive language and tone. Make sure that we're very upbeat, very positive, and very assumptive that they would be working with us. When we make this phone call, like we mentioned earlier, it's important to ask the customer a yes or no question. A simple, have you been thinking about this project, is not as good as if we get a definitive yes or no from the customer. So here are a few questions that you can ask your customer when you're following up with them. The first question: I'm going to be in your neighborhood tomorrow. Can I stop by to get the project started? Will elicit a yes or no question. I was thinking about your project and I can't wait to get started. Does Thursday work for me to swing by? Again, will elicit a yes or no answer. I found another product sample that I think you'll love. Can I stop by tomorrow to show it to you? My install schedule is filling up and I want to make sure that your project gets on it. Can we go ahead and make it official? And the last question that you see here that you could ask your customer to follow up on a proposal: I just received an order for the same product you were going to go with. I can order yours with it to save on freight. Again, these are questions that are assumptive. These are questions that force the customer to think forward and to make a yes or no decision. And we want to do this so that we can move on not only with this sale and push this sale towards closing, but at the same time, if this sale is not going to close, it allows us to move forward and help some other customers. And the question becomes, when do we stop this type of contact? We stop when the customer simply tells us that they will not be working with us, whether it is through email, phone call, or text. We know that our best chance is to close the sale on the spot in the home on the first visit. However, without a strong follow-up game, you will miss out on a ton of sales that you could have gotten from customers that maybe just needed an extra day or two to think about it. It's important that you execute on a daily basis to reach out to proposals that are still open to ensure that you're maximizing your sales potential.